guys, today I'm filming the second video in a little mini series on if I had to cut my collection in half. The first video is me physically doing the separating. So I went category by category through my makeup collection and I just went off my initial thoughts on what I would keep, what I would pass if I could only keep half of what I currently have. This is my third year doing this project. I will have my other two playlists linked down below for you. And today we are just going to be talking about complexion products and cheek products, and this was so hard. I mean, I have a lot of stuff in every category. Honestly, doing this video was a little bit overwhelming to me, but I made some interesting choices. So for primers, I had 13, so keep 7, passing 6, and I tried to keep a variety. So Tarte base tape for hydrating. I had the Maybelline Perfector and the Vesca for glowy primers, the Herborian and Murad for mattifying, and then for pore filling I have the Dr. Brandt and the NYX pore filler stick, which is brand new. For some of these categories I did not include all of my newest products. Like in my most recent haul I purchased a lot of blushes and lip products. I didn't include those, but for some of my other new things I chose to. I really don't know necessarily how I made that decision. Some of them were things that I've tried at least once, so I know, but then that NYX pore filler stick, I haven't tried it yet, but I included it anyway. And then for the passes, a lot of sample sizes. The Becca and the Too Faced are some of my favorites, but they're not available anymore, so that kind of helped me make the decision. But I definitely want to keep everything here and use it up. The Ciate Dewy Skin I actually tried to declutter, and then I was like, oh no, but it'd be so good with powder foundation. So I'm gonna think on that one, see if I feel like keeping it. But I think that this Say is a nice glowy primer, but isn't super special. I think the other ones I have work just fine. I have not tried the Benefit Professional Light or the NYX Plump Right Back. I'm going to use those up in my fall project pan. I'll let you know my thoughts then. So while I do have some primers in the past pile that I really like and want to keep, it wasn't that challenging. But for foundations, that was really hard. So I currently have 21 foundations, which is not good. And some of the passes were easy and then others not so much. So for my keeps, this is really nice looking at this assortment here. So I've got some skin tints from Rare Beauty, L'Oreal, Fenty, and then I've got some more full coverage foundations from, as you see, Estee Lauder, Profusion, NARS, Charlotte Tilbury Pure, Kosas, It Cosmetics, L'Oreal. The L'Oreal and the Profusion are the best drugstore foundations I've ever tried. Those three right there are incredible. So pretty happy with the variety that I have here. So for the passes, the hardest one for me was probably the Cali Ray Skin Tint. I also had a hard time putting the NARS in there because it was so expensive, but I really did not like it as much as everyone else. It was good, but not amazing. That Lawless foundation, I actually wish I returned it when I had a chance. It's a little light for me and the formula is just okay. Estee Lauder Double Wear Max Cover is a great foundation. I don't need that much coverage. I don't like stick foundations. The Charlotte Tilbury I think is going to be a little dark for me, but I can definitely make it work. Maybe I can mix that with the Lawless. And then Too Faced Peak Perfect, I like, not available anymore. So looking at the keeps, I feel very content with this assortment here. If I could keep 2 more, it would be the Cali Ray Skin Tint and the new NARS foundation. So for concealer, I had 8, so keep 4, pass 4, and I actually had a pretty easy time with this. The Shape Tape Ultra Creamy, I do not really like. The original is much better in my opinion. Same with color corrector, I think is good, but lucky for me, my dark circles aren't bad enough where I need something like this on the daily. I can use concealer on its own. Surprisingly, I put the MAC Studio Finish in here, which has been something that I've loved for years. But I was using it to kind of clean up brows and some other areas, and I just don't do that anymore. And then I had a really hard time thinking about what other concealer to pass on, and I just chose the Kosas because I don't love the smell, but I do like the product itself. But for the keeps, Tarte Shape Tape will for always be my favorite under eye concealer. I've panned a lot this year and I'm currently using the original Shape Tape and I'm really loving it. Estee Lauder Double Wear is my favorite blemish concealer. I've really been impressed with the NYX Bear With Me, and I really like the KVD as well. So really happy with what I've got here, and I really do just want to use them up, but I know it's going to take me a while. For powder, I have 14, so keep 7, pass 7, and I put some really new things in here that I haven't formed too much of an opinion on. So I kept a whole bunch of loose powders just because that is my preference. And my Maybelline Fit Me is wonderful on its own, but you guys know I love mixing it with the Too Faced Born This Way and Peach Perfect to get a really good shade for me. And I love my Dermablend loose powder, you guys know, for under eyes and face. Rimmel Stay Matte is my Holy Grail touch-up powder. I really have enjoyed the Kosas, and it is different from the other things I have. And then the Jaclyn is a glowy powder that I originally, if you can see in the video, I'm kind of like hesitating on it. I thought about passing, but I thought for variety's sake, it would be nice to keep. And then I am passing on a lot of pressed powders. So the Laura Geller is something that is brand new to me. I've only used one time. I liked it, but I like my loose a little bit more so far. e.l.f. powder foundation, very powdery, and the shade I have is too light. The ColourPop Pretty Fresh pressed powders I actually think are really nice, but I still go for loose over pressed powders. And then I have the Too Faced powder foundation, which I just hauled, haven't tried yet. And Laura Mercier translucent powder, this was the other one that I was kind of stuck between this and the Jaclyn, but because I do think that the Laura Mercier is more similar to the other loose powders I have, I did choose to pass this on. It does darken my concealer a bit. The Sigma powder is also new to me, although I am wearing it today on this side of my face. Dermablend on this side of my face, and I am really liking it, but I just had to make some decisions here. So the things that are in the pass pile, I really do just want to use them up. So basically I just prefer loose powder over pressed powder, even though there are some really good ones in here. I really do recommend that ColourPop Pretty Fresh. And then I have other powder foundations like the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear that I really love, but I already used it up this year. For setting sprays, I had 12, so keep 6, pass 6. And this was pretty easy for me. I love my MAC Fix Plus and I love my Urban Decay All Nighter. So I kept the Summer Solstice, the Ultra Matte, and the D-Slick. And then I actually really do like the NYX Dewy Finish setting spray, and the Charlotte Tilbury is just so expensive. I only used it a couple of times, so like I can't pass that on. So in the passes, the Benefit Professional, I only used a sample size, but I did not like the mister on it. So we'll see if the full size has the same one. The Ofra Makeup Fixer I'm sure is nice, but I'm not dying to have. Then the ColourPop and the Peach and Lily are more of like dewy hydrating sprays, which are not my vibe. I know I'm keeping the NYX, but I've used that one up before and I thought that was really nice. The Morphe Mattifying Continuous Mist is something that I did think about keeping, but I would rather keep the All Nighter matte. And then the Too Faced Peach Mist, which I do think is nice. I've used up in the past, but it does leave those little like powder dots on your face that you have to blend out, which is a little annoying. So this was a pretty easy decision for me as well. I definitely want to use up all the ones in the pass pile, but setting spray takes me a really long time to get through. Then we have my cream cheeks. Last year I had them all together, but as y'all know, cream cheeks have been so popular over the last year, 2 years, so I've gotten a lot more. So I separated bronzer highlighters from blushes. So I have 11 cream and liquid bronzers and highlighters. So I'm keeping 6, passing on 5. And this was pretty easy for me. So for the keeps, there are a few things that I'm trying to pan, and normally that would mean that I would put them in the pass pile, but I've been loving them all year. So you guys probably know if you watch my Makeup of the Days on Instagram, because I use these all the time. Iconic London Sheer Bronze. I use on top of my foundation. The Persona Bronzer Stick and Dune I wear underneath foundation. Bare Minerals Bare Skin Sheer Sun Liquid I am mixing into my foundation. And then the other products I just really love. The M Cosmetics bronzer stick is such a great shade for me in summer. The Flower Beauty Spotlight Liquid Highlight I think is really pretty as well. And then the Merit Beauty bronzer balm stick is new to me. I'm wearing it for the second time today. I really like this, and I just really like this stick format. Then for the pass pile, that Illamasqua liquid highlight is a little dark for me, so I'm going to be panning that this fall underneath the foundation. The Rare Beauty bronzer sticks, I do like that silicone-y formula, but neither of those shades are perfect for me. I wish that I had tried the M Cosmetics before the Rare Beauty. And then the NARS I have in Laguna 1, and it's a little more olivey and lighter than I would like it to be. Now, the Merit is lighter as well, but because the undertone is like a little warmer, it shows up on me. I don't know. I almost wish I got Laguna 2, which really surprises me because I've seen people that are more of a light skin tone, not fair, wear Laguna 1 and it looks good on them. So I don't really dislike it. It's just a little bit more olive tone than I would prefer. And then the one out of these that I actually would like to keep is the Tarte Cream Bronzer. I think that's a great formula and a really nice color, but I was going back and forth between that and the Merit, but I really wanted to keep the Merit. For cream and liquid blush, I had 21, so keeping 11, passing 10. I actually had a very challenging time with this. There were some that like I automatically knew I'd pass on, and then there were a few where I was like going back and forth, but I feel pretty good about this decision. So I kept way more liquid than I expected, but kept all 4 of my Bare Minerals, why can't I think of the name, Bounce and Blur blush. I love that formula, performs very well over top of powder, which is important to me. That Kiko blush is also a bouncy texture and a really pretty warm nude shade. The M Cosmetics Cream Blush, I love that color and it's a really easy to work with formula. Then I have 4 different shades of the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush. The second to smallest shade, the pink one, Adore, is the only one that I've used so far. The other ones I have not. Bliss, the full size, was given to me by my friend Lauren, but I know I like that shade. And then those other 2 little sample sizes, I think will just give some like nice variety of color. The Laura Geller Cheek Tint is also new to me. I've only worn it once so far, but it was so beautiful and very easy to work with, and I want to keep playing more. So then for the passes, none of these I dislike. It's just that I don't love them quite as much. So that Laura Mercier Sample Blush I've not used yet. The Jaclyn was a little dark for me. M Cosmetics Liquid is not the easiest to use. The Merit blushes were fine. I did kind of hem and haw on those. Natasha Denona Rose Cheek Duo is good, not a must-have. The Tarte Cream Blush did not go over powder very well. And then the other ones I'm just so on. I don't love the MAC Glow Play blushes as much as everybody else. I do think that they're relatively easy to work with. I have a really pretty color, but you know, I feel fine with these. I want to keep them in my collection, but like looking at the keeps, even though there's all those liquid blushes, which surprises me, just makes me a little happier. For my powder bronzers, I had 15, so I was keeping 8, passing 7. Had a very hard time with this one as well. I have used my bronzers more this year, whereas like the 2 years prior, I had been panning bronzers and not getting use out of everything. I've really been liking what I have. So I am happy with the keeps. In years past, I would have put that Anastasia Saddle Bronzer in the pass pile thinking it was too dark for me, but I really loved it this summer. And the Jaclyn and the Sigma are new to me, but I really like them so far. The Too Faced Sweet Tea was something I fell in love with this year as well. For the Sigma bronzers, I have 2 shades. I decided to keep the medium, the darker one. And then for the passes, I panned Too Faced Chocolate Soleil and the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer for a couple of years. So while I have them again and I love them, I am more excited to use some other products. Now I did pan Hoola as well, but that color works the best for me in winter, so I felt like I needed to keep it. And I love the formula too. The Cover FX bronzer is fine. Becca is good, but of course no longer available. Same with Marc Jacobs, even though I really like it. The Flower Beauty is a nice, interesting color and a shimmer formula, but not necessarily a must-have. And then the one that was the hardest to put over here is probably the Sigma bronzer in light, but there isn't that much of a difference between light and medium. For highlights, I had 27, so keeping 14, passing 13. And this was actually pretty easy for me, which was kind of a shocker. So the Jaclyn Cosmetics highlights I think are a really good formula, but Iced is a very special shade. The 2 new Sigma highlighters I have, the M Cosmetics, which I liked more than I thought. Of course, we have to keep the classic Omrizi, which is one of the only gold highlights that work on me. The Benefit highlights are incredible. The Ofra Steph Toms is my favorite shade from them, but I also kept Beverly Hills, which is a little multicolored one, just because I feel like you can get some good variety depending on where you put your brush. Love the Nabla formula. And for the Ofra highlights that I kept, we have Glazed Donut, Pillow Talk, Cloud 9, and Star Island. Ofra highlight formula though is just... Then for the passes from Ofra in that palette, we have Space Baby, Moon Dance, and All of the Lights. And then I have that Jaclyn highlight in Spark, which is just like a little yellow. The loose highlight is just really intense. Star Surfer from Kaleidos is very pretty. I compared it to the Cloud 9 from Ofra, and the Kaleidos has a little bit more glitter, or like, yeah, glitter in it. And then the Becca ones and the Urban Decay I like, no longer available. That Jacqueline Putty highlight is a little glittery for me. Laura Mercier I do like, but it's a little bit subtle for my taste, and I have not been into subtle highlights. The Illamasqua one I do think is very nice, but very bulky. So I actually would be pretty content with the Keeps formula and color wise. For powder blush, I have 52, which is insane, and that is not including a lot of blushes that I got this month that I have not used, so I did not put them in. So that means keeping 26, passing 26. This was very hard. There were some that were a little bit easy for me, but when I was getting down to those last few, it took me a while to make some decisions. So for Keeps, I have my original M Cosmetics blushes. I do think that this is a nice formula, a bit overhyped and overpriced, but I do like these shades. Something I think needs more hype would be the Persona blushes. I love the formula, and I love all 4 of those shades. I love the Buxom blushes, so I kept my 2 favorite colors there. 2 from NARS. That Orgasm X I got as a sample is so gorgeous, and that Goulet I love as well. I did keep 3 of my 4 Becca blushes. It was really hard to let go of one, but I really like these shades the most. Kept my 2 new Sigma blushes, kept 3 of my 4 new Benefit. From MAC, I have Melba, Cantaloupe, and Gingerly, and then of course Classic Warm Soul, 2 of the new Ciate blushes. I have the Pat McGrath in Nude Venus, I believe. So I feel really happy with the Keeps, but I just feel like some things are missing. So in the pass pile, I put my Nobla blushes, even though I do really like them. I just like the others a bit more. I did unfortunately put the new M Cosmetics blushes in there. I think they're pretty colors, but I like the original ones a little better. I put my limited edition MAC blushes in here because they're not available anymore, and I haven't worn them in a little while. The one that may have been the toughest for me would be Benefit Sunny. I think that one's very pretty and it's new. Bare Minerals Kiss of Pink, and then the Becca Blush and Songbird. Those are probably the 3 hardest. I have some little mini blushes in here. The Balm Frat Boy is one of my first favorite blushes ever, but I haven't used it much in a while. The Tarte blushes, I like those 2 shades, but I'm kind of over the formula. That Buxom Wanderlust blush is a weird shade on me. Those 2 MAC pans would be Breath of Plum and Fleur Power, which I do like, but I like my peachy blushes more. So this was hard for me. There are some here that I could see myself letting go of if you made me, but like, I don't want to. But I did rearrange my blushes after this, and I put like all of my favorites, want to keep in one section, and then the like other miscellaneous ones that I don't use and love as much in another section. I do also have more blushes and stuff that's in my chopping block, but I did not include my chopping block stuff because that would make it too easy for me to make this decision. I wanted to challenge myself a bit more. For face palettes, I had 20, so keep 10, pass 10. This was relatively easy for me until I got to the last few. So I love the first Lunar Beauty blush palette. I think that's a really nice color variety for me. I am in love with the Sigma highlight and blush formula, so I have those 2 palettes. And then I also kept 2 of the duos, Berry Glow and Cinderella. I have an Hourglass face palette from a few years ago. I like that variety and those colors best. That Jouer blush and bronzer highlight palette is so good. Those shades really work well for me. That Artist Couture palette, that's like the only thing I have from them that I've liked, but really pretty colors. And I like the Pat McGrath one as well for the color variety in that holiday palette and the highlight. And the Jacqueline holiday palette was so good. Then in the pass pile, the things that were harder for me was that Sigma Duo. So it has Corday Rosa in it, which I already have in the full size. It's just the highlight that I don't already have. So that was like the last thing I put over here. The Hourglass palette is really pretty as well, but I prefer the other one. Lorac highlight palette is a good formula, but I would pick the Sigma one. Pat McGrath blushes are good, but a little pink for me. And then the NARS blush palette was just okay. The new Lunar Beauty one, I just didn't love as much, unfortunately, like color-wise. That Milani Face and Eye palette, I've taken in and out of my chopping block so many times. Benefit only has 1 new product in there. Natasha Denona Bloom has a couple cream products. Another tough one for me was that MAC highlight palette. I do think that's really beautiful, But again, if I could only keep one highlight palette, I would keep the Sigma one. So guys, I'm sorry if this was a bit rambly, but I hope you found this little project interesting. I would love to know if you guys decide to do this little project with your collection as well, and send me some pictures on Instagram. Let me know what you kept and decluttered. I think that would be so fun. Like, again, I'm not actually getting rid of all these things, although this project in the past has helped me declutter more things. It's just for me to really see what I love and what I just like, and help me maybe declutter them in the future. So next video will be part 3, where I'm talking about eye and lip products. That's gonna be tough. Palettes and glosses, that's gonna be tough. So I have not actually done the sorting of that yet, so we'll see how that goes. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.